So if you're a socialist or you oppose fascism, the government could consider you a terrorist. A document from Prevent, the official scheme to stop radicalisation, including believing in socialism, communism, anti-fascism and anti-abortion, in a list of potential signs of ideologies leading to terrorism. It comes as the Conservative government considers widening what it will consider to be extremism. The document is part of online Prevent awareness training for those covered by the duty to inform if they suspect radicalisation. That includes teachers and youth workers. So let me get this straight. Being an anti-fascist means you could be on a terrorist watch list. So does that mean the government is fascist? I mean, at least they admit it. This is crazy. So apparently you could be considered a terrorist if you think the means of production should be in the hands of the workers instead of a few billionaires. Now, what is Prevent? Prevent is a scheme that was initially created in 2003 in the aftermath of 9/11. It was created due to Islamist extremism, and the government essentially mandated, and it still does, that schools look for signs that a child is becoming radicalised. Of course, what that meant was young Muslims were being targeted all the time. It's a horrific Islamophobic policy. It makes young Muslims feel scared and guilty for doing nothing wrong. People are even being targeted for protesting climate change. I mean, saving the planet is considered extremism under this government. I would say extremism is when there's an impending climate catastrophe and then doing nothing about it despite scientists screaming at us. Now, this is what Prevent said specifically about left-wing ideologies. Two broad ideologies, socialism and communism. Each is united by a set of grievance narratives which underline their cause. Anarchism seeks the abolition of the state, rejecting all forms of hierarchical structures and authority. Anarchism is often considered to be one of the more radical political left-wing ideologies. However, some anarchist schools of thought fall outside the left-wing spectrum. For example, anarcho-capitalism and nihilism. This is why it has been separated out as a distinct strand. Single issue. Narratives are likely to come from those who seek to change a specific policy or practice, as opposed to replacing the whole economic, political, or social system. Examples include animal rights, anti-abortion, or anti-fascism. Single-issue narratives can be politically agnostic, meaning they may be neither right nor left aligned. So if I'm reading this correctly, socialism or communism could be considered extremist because people have a grievance with the current system. I mean, that's a given, because if there was no grievance, they wouldn't want to change the system. I'm not sure how that it means it undermines the cause and makes it extreme. I mean, the whole point when talking about alternative systems is that you have to criticize the current one. Now, its description of anarchism is correct. As someone who isn't an anarchist, it's radical for sure, but it's not extremist. I mean, extremism is about hate, right? It's inflicting fear and harm on people. Abolishing the state and all hierarchies, even if you think it's stupid, clearly doesn't seek to divide people or inflict harm. It's just a radical ideology that seeks to find complete equality. Now, the last section is just straight out funny. I mean, they literally included animal rights in there. Well, I guess everyone is an extremist, even anti-abortion. Now, I think it's morally wrong to have that position. I think it hurts women, but I wouldn't call someone a terrorist who held that view. I mean, I can sit in the same room with someone who was against abortion. Look, the way extremism is seen through the eyes of the government, the way it's seen through centrist eyes, is that both the left and the right have their extremes. And I disagree completely. The radical left is about achieving equality and maximum democracy. Communists want to see the end of structures that perpetuate hierarchy and inequality. Socialists want to use the state to create a true democracy through changing of ownership. A socialist economy is just economic democracy. Workers' cooperatives, using the state to take power away from the few and redistribute it among communities. I mean, that's early socialism at least. Now, on the government's website, it literally says that opposition to democracy is one of the core ideas of extremism. Well, left-wing ideas are about improving democracy. Now, contrast this to right-wing ideologies. They are based on hate and division. That's literally in the core of it. Fascism is the idea that we should separate ourselves based on religion, culture, and race. Ethno-states is a big idea under fascism. The belief that certain people are better than others. Yet it's anti-fascism that the government considers extreme. So the left and the right are not comparable in any way. I mean, the only way extremism would exist on the left is through the method. I mean, if someone instills fear or harm in people in the name of their ideology, sure, that's terrorism and extremism, but that's based on the actions of those, not their ideas. It's why you see virtually no left-wing extremism. It's almost non-existent. You get far-right extremism and you get Islamist extremism, which is like every other religion and its conservative ideology. Now, people in the media try to obscure the truth and pretend that Islam is somehow left-wing or Islamism is left-wing terrorism because the left defends Muslims. That's not true. It's true the left defends Muslims, just as the left defends all minorities. It's what the left is. It's what we've always done. So if we see Muslims being attacked, we stand up for them. When people equate all Muslims to or with the actions of a few extremists, we defend them. But Islam is an ideology. It's literally conservatism. There's nothing left-wing about it. Now, these changes show that the government is the extremist. Of course, it's important to have government initiatives that stop violent extremism, but prevent has been a political tool. It's clear they want to stop dissent of the current system. Now, what sort of governments tried to ban different ideologies? Fascist ones. The net has been cast so wide that it includes people who care about climate change and socialists, which have been part of the very long history in this country. Part of modern British history has been socialism. It's been the fight for workers' rights, trade unionism, improving the lives of the working class. I mean, that's very much part of what Britain is, as well as capitalism and imperialism. These moves prove that the government hates democracy and see people as a threat who challenge the establishment, who challenge capitalism and power, which, ironically, if we were to judge the government based on their own prevent guidelines, they would be on a watch list too. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and drop a comment. It's good for the algorithm and I'm interested in what you have to say. If you're not already subscribed, please do and hit the notification bell. You can also support this channel by becoming a member for 99p per month. And if you're feeling a little more generous, then you can support us on Patreon for £3 or £5 per month. This channel for a while has been uploading every single day, and it's quite a lot of work that is still voluntary and scheduled around my paid work. But I have so much ambition, expect in the future to see more variety in content, such as interviews and Vox Pops. But I want this to be a fully fledged media organisation where not only is this my full-time job, but to have multiple people working for Turn Left. I like to see a live show in the future, more content that delves into culture, history, and much more. But that can only be done if there's money. So please, if you can, support us in any way that's in your capacity. And thank you to existing members, subscribers, and patrons. See you next time.